So Donald Trump Jr. has distinguished himself as a charter member of his father's conspiracy to overturn the presidential election results. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So let's turn to this new blockbuster reporting showing that Donald Trump Jr. was working the levers of government, trying to get his father installed for a second term as president even before the votes were counted. But before we turn to that, if you'll indulge me 30 seconds of housekeeping. As you may know, here at Justice Matters, we're an all-volunteer effort, up and running 7 days a week, posting a legal analysis video every day. If you'd like to support our mission, our efforts, our content, please feel free to go over to patreon.com. You can sign up to become a patron, and if you do, I'll send you some Team Justice and Justice Matters stickers and a personal handwritten note of thanks. You'll also get all sorts of behind-the-scenes stuff about how we operate here at Justice Matters. And thank you to the many of you who have come over to Patreon and have joined Team Justice and are supporting our efforts. I can't thank you enough. It's because of you that we get to do this every day. Now, let's turn to this new reporting about Donald Trump Jr. This from CNN. We control them all. Donald Trump Jr. texted Meadows ideas for overturning 2020 election before it was called. And that article begins 2 days after the 2020 presidential election. As votes were still being tallied, Donald Trump's eldest son texted then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows that we have operational control to ensure his father would get a second term. It's very simple, Trump Jr. texted to Meadows on November 5th, adding later in the same missive, we have multiple paths. We control them all. We have operational control, total leverage. POTUS must start second term now. And friends, Don Jr. is texting this on November 5th. The votes hadn't even been counted. The election wasn't even called until November 7th, and yet Don Jr. is working the levers of government, texting the Chief of Staff to the President of the United States, saying things like, we have multiple paths to reinstalling my father. We have operational control. We have total leverage. And POTUS's second term must start now. You know, friends, as I said on the Last Word last night with Lawrence O'Donnell, that is breathtaking in its treasonous bravado. That is breathtaking in its casual disregard for the will of the voters. The votes hadn't been tallied. The election hadn't been called, and Don Jr. is texting Mark Meadows, POTUS's second term must start now. That is deeply conspiratorial, criminal, treasonous in the layman sense of the word treason. Now, Don Jr.'s lawyer has a perfect explanation for it. This guy, Alan Futterfuss, says, well, you know, my client was just getting texts sent to him and he was just forwarding them along. Not his fault. Okay, let's take that on. Let's assume I get a text, and the text says, the bank guards have just gone home for the night. The vault is unguarded at the moment. Go! And I send that to my associates, and they rob the bank. I guess Alan Futterfuss would just say, he was just forwarding the texts along. No, I was making myself a member of the conspiracy to rob the bank. I mean, come on. What do these people take us for? And these newly released texts by Don Jr. remind me of something Federal Judge David Carter said about a week ago now. Judge Carter ruled that there was enough evidence, by a preponderance of the evidence, more likely than not, 51% of the evidence showed that Donald Trump committed crimes to try to retain the presidency. He committed the crimes of obstructing an official proceeding, the certification of Joe Biden's win, and he was in a criminal conspiracy with John Eastman to defraud the United States, to commit offenses against the United States. And what Judge Carter said was, this was a coup in search of a legal theory. But Don Jr. didn't even have the pretense of looking for a legal theory. He just said, I don't care that the votes haven't been counted yet. I don't care that the election has not yet been called for anybody. My father's second term must start now, before the election results are in. That makes Don Jr. a charter member of the criminal conspiracy, together with his father and all of his father's other criminal associates, to try to unconstitutionally install his dad for a second term. And justice must come for these small, indecent, treasonous little men like Don Jr. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and please hang in there. It's coming. I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.